Welcome to episode 11 of About the Cards podcast, live tonight on YouTube. It's Thursday. It's not Wednesday, folks. Thanks for joining us a day late, but we're not $1 short. As always, with me, host Ben Wilson at Our Trading Cards, Stefan Loeffler at Junkwax Twins, and Big Shep 79, Tim Shepler. We are a podcast of collectors for collectors by collectors, hoping to bring you a smart, insightful podcast tonight about trading cards and the trading card hobby. Normally we're live every Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific Coast time, but tonight we're coming to you on Thursday because, I had to be selfish yesterday and do a fantasy football draft. So you can always follow us on Twitter at About the Cards. We're available on iTunes. Just search About the Cards. And always follow us on YouTube at About the Cards. We keep it pretty simple here. And if you subscribe and review on all platforms, we appreciate that, especially if you're subscribing on YouTube. We have a giveaway we talked about last week. So we're trying to get to 100. We're at 77, which is great. We were up 20 in a week. So thank you everybody that's followed us before and subscribed. We appreciate that. What we're going to give away is whatever week we hit 100, those first 100 folks, we're going to give them Topps Living set for that week. Since Topps Living is one of our favorite things to talk about every week, that week's set will be sent to you. And so let's get there. Guys, how are you doing tonight? How was your week?
If my computer would act right, it'd be great.
Yeah? Well, I like the pink one. It's better than the normal photo that we get.
That is true. I'm excited. Hey, got a couple of neat things in the mail this week. My Topps Fire team set came in, which is exciting because, last week this time, it came out. We didn't even know.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little about that tonight.
Yeah. But I was excited. It's a good-looking product. I'm going to get into it a little bit. My Panini's Chronicles team set came in. We touched on that a little bit last week. Looks a lot better than last year, but I'm sorry. I think that this is probably it for it. Yeah, overall, it's not a very strong product, but I do like that they kind of shortened the amount of.
Let me talk about that in a little bit.
No, we'll talk about it right now. Okay, anyway, fine. How are you, Ben? I'm good. I had a nice week. How are you, boys?
God, did you never follow the rules ever in school? I understand why you have permanent bruises now.
Those are because I make one too many wife jokes in front of the wife. Those are a lot funnier when she's not around.
Very true, but we do tell her. Steph, how's your week been going, buddy?
Pretty good. Just walking the mutts and catching up on some card sorting here.
Nice. Yeah, I'm doing the same, trying to dig through a full car full of boxes I got last week. So a lot of people have reached out to me about their teams, and I'm definitely excited about that. It's going to take me a month or so to get through everything, but as soon as I get the team sorted out, they will head to your house, and they will be yours. So I have like 19 or 20 of the 30 Major League Cubs spoken for, but if you want your team, hit me up at Big Shep 79, and we could work that out. And I am rocking a Smokies hat tonight. Thanks, once a Cub. The reason I bought the Tennessee Smokies hat, my name, Tim Shepler. I like red, white, and blue. And so that's why I'm wearing the Smokies hat. I love it. It spoke to me, and I had to have it. So, guys, let's get into the week that was, last week's releases. Topps Living, my favorite week. I'm giving you a hug, Topps. The week of August, it was the 24th week last week. We had 18,179 cards sold. It was week 19 out of 24 most popular. Card number 70, Bo Jackson. He sold just over 7,300 cards, which is the 22 most. He's the 22nd ranked card there. Card number 71, Jake Arrieta, sold a little over 5,000. I said he would sell under 5,000. He was a little over. Number 53 there. And Derek Rodriguez, rookie pitcher for the Giants, sold almost 2 cards shy of 5,800. I told you he would outsell Arrieta, but I still thought he'd be under 5,000. So that was a crazy number for me. He's card number 30, the 37th most popular there. A little over 557,000 total cards sold so far. Again, with an adjusted a retail estimate of a little over $4.6 million in this product so far. So, guys, pretty good week, pretty solid week. But Bo, I think, was undersold, and the other guys oversold in my thoughts, because I thought Bo would hit at least over 8,000. I think I said 50 or 8,500 last week. So, what are your thoughts on these numbers as they came in?
The numbers are off, but they fell about right where I thought they'd go. The legend Bo Jackson falling at the very top. Derek Rodriguez, ex-Twin, not a Giant, coming in second just because some people are collecting the rookies and some people are collecting the Giants, and it's been a while since the Giants have had one. And Jake Arrieta, I mean, that's just a regular base card being dropped. So I didn't expect too much of a chance for them to break Bo and the rookie.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Stefan's right. I think we touched on this in private conversations this week. You know, Derek Rodriguez, I believe, got probably a little bit of maybe about a 5% jump just because it's been forever since the Giants had one. Second card for that team. The Royals, of course, were in the same boat. I thought that was kind of interesting. Like Stefan said, and you said that too, Tim. I think we all were kind of surprised that he didn't sell at least maybe 1,000, 1,500 more. I'm a little shocked just because he's the multi-sport player. He's kind of drawing from multiple consumer bases and collector bases. The Royals hadn't been around since week 2 or 3 when Alex Gordon got dropped. So
yeah, he was early on, and Panic was week 1.
Yeah, there was a lot going in Bo Jackson's favor. You would think for him to sell more. It's kind of interesting that we're all a little surprised overall. If you add up the 3 print runs, though, I think they're right in line with probably what we're going to see from here on out for the foreseeable future until a big name gets dropped like Trout or Ruth.
Yeah,
Right.
I picked up the 2 Jacksons and 2 Rodriguez's, and I was pretty excited about those right away at Twins Jake, by the way, on Twitter. Purchased from him. He's a great guy. Make sure they're in awesome condition. So we move on. 2018 Panini Origins football release last week. Again, it's a really sharp product. Get on it. It's around $100 a box. You're getting some on-card autos of these guys. Just a cool looking card, and these ones tend to hold their value, those box prices, as the season starts up here next week. We'll see them jump up. Panini National Treasures Collegiate Football, I guess that's been a little hot, but again, we talked about that. And then Panini's Chronicle Baseball. So I talked about how this was a dog of a product. So I bought in a break on last Friday with Mojo, and I picked the Royals up in a 16 box case break. And I got my 5 cards for the Royals. 2 of them happened to be Brett, which was pretty cool. But yeah, this thing is not for this world. I don't think it makes it past the season. And we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a moment in our infield chatter. But we'll get into that nice and deep today and share our opinions. So I want to move on to hot off the presses, the new releases this week as we hop in. The Topps living the 25th week here. 3 cards released. Card number 73, Cody Bellinger, first baseman for the Los Angeles Dodgers. He's the 5th Dodger, so now they tie the Yankees for most cards for a team. Card number 74 is Lourdes Gurriel Jr. He's the 20th rookie. He's a second baseman for the Blue Jays, and he's the 3rd Blue Jay in the set. He's the brother of Uriel that plays for the Astros. And card number 75, Topps is listening, guys. We have the power here at About the Cards. You tell us who you want Topps living. We're going to get him in the set. Because last week we complained that there was no twin and we wanted Joe Mauer. And guess what? Card 75 is Joe Mauer, first baseman for the Minnesota Twins, the 2nd twin in the product. Welcome, Joe.
Damn right.
How's that
About
feel,
time.
Steph?
It'd be nicer if there was a Dozier to go along with Barrios and Mauer, but
let's not get greedy. You got your one.
We'll see you
we're
back
gonna have
in
to have 7 or 8
48.
more Yankees released before you get your twin.
right.
It's all based on win shares.
You'll get another one back in February.
Of course. Well, no, the funny part was in one of my private Twitter DMs, those back pages was complaining that this week's set stuff hasn't been released yet. And I replied something to the effect of, well, that's because Topps is coming up with reasons not to issue another twin. 2 minutes later, someone posts, hey, here's the 3 that are being released. And, oh, by the way, yeah, there's a twin. Shit. Well, okay. Well, joke dead. Maybe I need to complain more often. It seems to work. But
what teams only have one? The Detroit Tigers need one next week. And unfortunately, Justin Verlander, what do you do with a guy like that? A lifelong Detroit Tiger is now at the Astros. I mean, you can't make a card of him as an Astro. I mean, that's just not fair. I mean, somebody like him is almost going to have to wait till he's retired, and then you make him as a legend.
I said Johnny Bench. That's who I'd be looking for. The Reds have one. Let's get Johnny Bench a card.
Miguel Cabrera, Johnny Bench.
Hey, real quick, a new follower on our Twitter account, Bourbon Cards, just tweeted out that picked up 20 Bellingers today. And he goes, I have a full set from 1 to 75. Told myself months ago I'd stop at Bellinger. Man, you can't stop if you're at 1 to 75. You're one of a handful of guys that has that set so far. You got to keep pushing along. But 20 Bellinger's nice. I like that. So, no, I'm excited about this. I'm excited about this week. I think having Joe Mauer on there is going to probably make it one of the worst weeks ever. But
probably.
Do any of these? I see Bellinger. I mean, he was really hot last year, kind of cooled off this year. I don't see a guy that's driving this. This reminds me of a couple weeks ago when like Rizzo was the headliner and we had a really down week. I have a feeling this week's going to be in the 15,000 range. You're going to get Bellinger to be about 5,000 or 6,000. The rest of the guys will make up the difference. I mean, Gurriel, I didn't even know he was in the majors. I knew he was with the Blue Jays, but I didn't know he was even up.
He got called up, yeah.
Yeah. The disparity, I wouldn't surprise me if you're looking at the high being around 6,500, 6,700 with the low being around 44 to 47. I think the disparity between 1, 2, and 3 they're going to be extremely close.
Couple hundred.
I think this is going to be one of the weaker weeks. But hey, you never know.
Yep.
Depends how many I purchase.
That's true. You and Pat Neshek, former twin.
Hey. I can tell you when George Brett gets released, that's when I'm backing the truck up. So I know Waxtopia said the same thing. Yes, Brett gets released and it'll blow the numbers out. He'll be the first card on the set. He'll have outsold Ron Acuna's 40. What was it? He sold 46,809. Brett will be at 50,000 just because Waxtopia, who follows me by the way, just want to let you guys know that.
Welcome.
And myself there. So. But hey, I want to talk about a secret product. Now, New Era. I love New Era fitted hats, 7 5/8. How
much do you like them?
A lot. They had a secret product come out using the 2018 Topps flagship design. They were issued at select Major League Stadium stores as purchase incentive for buying New Era caps or Topps cards at the stadium. So I have some background on this because I ended up getting the Brett insert. We'll talk about this, but they are available at Wrigley, Guaranteed Rate Field. Now, if you guys can tell me who plays at Guaranteed Rate Field, I'll buy you a pack of cards.
Chicago White Sox.
U.S. Cellular?
Yeah, the White Sox. So I'll give you both a pack of cards. Kauffman Stadium, obviously. We don't need a sponsor. We just name it after the owner of the original owner of the Royals. Citizen Bank Park for the Phillies, Petco Park for the Padres, and Busch Stadium for the St. Louis Cardinals. Now, there's 8 cards per pack, and there's almost nothing else that indicates that these are part of a promo than they use different photos, but they are not photo variations. They have a different numbering system that is unique to the set rather than matching the set for the checklist for series 1 or 2. And at the bottom, the little code ends in 1604. So it's a 23 card base set. There's 1 player per team. They also have there's
23 cards.
There's 32 cards.
I could have swore I heard 23.
No, there's 32 cards.
You said 23 too.
Well, there's 32 cards.
Slight moment of dyslexia.
32 card base set, 1 player per team, and there's also the 1983 Topps 25th anniversary set. There's 20 cards in there, and those are all retired stars or Hall of Famers. There's also New Era performer autograph relic sets. There was no checklist given, and I looked on eBay and I didn't see any autographs out of the set so far.
Yeah, it looks like it's all relics.
There's also New Era performer relics out of 99, with parallels out of 5 and 2 1-of-1s. Harper, Javi Baez, Altuve, and Betts are the 4 guys there that have those. So I got the Brett and my Royals, and I was talking to the seller about the Moustakas, and I said, "Hey, can you give me a little background? We're going to talk about this on our podcast this week. What stadium did you get them from, and what was your event like?" And he told me, he's like, "Well, I bought it at Marlins Park," and I was like, "Wait, Marlins Park? He's like, yeah, I went to the Marlins game and got them. I'd asked him a couple times, and finally, like the third person knew what the hell I was talking about. And it's not on one of the listed stadiums here. Okay, and then there was one. So if you bought a hat, you got a pack, or if you bought a pack of cards there, a team set, you got a pack. And so that's how he got the few that he had. Really interesting though, right? I mean, we didn't hear really anything about this. Cracknell's the one that broke it. And I sent it to Ben, and we're like, "What? This would have been nice. Like, wouldn't the hell this happen in the limited stadiums? But could it beat every stadium?"
I would assume. I'm curious. Well, one with the numbering, it kind of reminds me of the retail like 17, 20 card set that they release every year. In that sometimes the photos are slightly different. Sometimes you get a preview of who's going to be in Series 2. Or what their photo is going to be what their photo will look like. But I would assume that the stadiums that have the New Era line in their team shops or whatnot, that they would probably have a few packs set aside. Yeah. Interesting. You said that there are 23 cards and each team has one. The Angels and the Yankees are the two teams with the extra 2 cards.
Hey guys, real quick. Yankees agreed to acquire former MVP outfielder Andrew McCutchen from the Giants.
Oh, wow. I would have thought that maybe Adam Jones, who also cleared waivers, might have went to the Yankees. But
Andrew Jones?
Adam Jones.
I heard.
He said Adam. Hey, once a Cub is on it tonight. This is the third year New Era's done it, and it used to be done at Lids. And I do believe I remember when it was done at Lids. Back then I wasn't as into collecting.
Whoa! So you're telling me that I got to go back and look for 2016 and 2017 now?
Yes.
Yep.
Good luck too.
Oh, so no, I hate everybody equally tonight.
Yeah. Let's not get Ben started on that. He tried to fight the internet this week, folks. So
left and right.
Yeah, he's a little sore and tired. Another surprise product that popped, 2018 Topps Fire, released at retail at Target only, $69.99 a box. If you can find it retail, they're going for over $90 on the Bay. 7 packs per box, 6 cards per pack. You're getting 1 autograph and 1 additional hit. You also can pick up in blaster form for $20. 8 packs per box, 6 cards per pack. I guess it's 7 packs plus a bonus pack. As it says on there, which it's 8 packs. Just say 8 packs. Like, I don't say 8 packs, please. Stupid. Right. There's 1 in the box break there. You're getting 1 bonus pack of gold minted parallels 4 cards. So that's your bonus pack. So you're really getting 9 packs, whatever. It's semantics, I guess. I'm just, Ben's rubbing off on me. There's a 200 card base set with 9 parallels for each base card. Good Lord. 4 autograph sets, 1 relic set, and 6 insert sets. I've seen it. They're kind of cool looking cards. Ben, you said you got your team set in the mail. You got it in your hand. What does it look like?
Which set were we talking about? I apologize. I was looking for 2017 Topps New Era. What set are we talking about?
Fire.
Yeah, no, Fire. Fire looks really good. So far, I've gotten 11 of the 12 cards. I had to buy the Conseco separate from a different buyer. They look nice. They're all the same this year. If I remember correctly, it seemed like they were slightly different designs last year. Right. I got the Hot Starts insert, which is really solid. It's a similar picture. It's Jed Lowry, so it's a similar picture as his base. It's just his hands in a different position. And then I also got the Matt Olson autograph, sticker auto. But it's a nice picture. They're really glossy base, cards. They're what you would expect. I saw somebody mention this is the Topps Target version of Bowman Platinum from Walmart. That if you are familiar with Bowman Platinum, that's actually a really good comparison. It's similar card stock. The sticker autos. I like them. I got the Mark McGwire Rainbow from last year. I think it's a really neat set. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be a long running set. I think by next year, the year after, they'll probably discontinue it, which kind of makes me a little sad because I actually do enjoy it.
Yeah, I think a few years back, the Walmart and Targets of the world came to the leagues and said, "Hey, can we get something else?" we get the individual parallels, and that's somewhat of a draw, but it's not really much to counter what we have to when you have to factor in all of our theft and loss of sale, plus people rebringing them back in and all of that. And I think this was their solution. Okay, you can only get Bowman Platinum at this store. You can only get Topps Fire at this store, and it is a pretty good looking set. As I'm trying to pull it up here, but I don't know about those black borders with Topps' history and just the card community with black border sets prone to being chipped. This year's looks a little bit different though than last year, or maybe I'm thinking of platinum. Shit. But no, it's definitely a really cool looking set. Check it out.
It has some different. It has a little different look and feel to it. You know, kind of makes me want to wish it was at Hobby a little bit, but I get it. You know, giving each Walmart and Target, their two biggest retail partners, you know, something for folks to chase after is pretty cool. You know, the second we've seen this hop in the secondary market, we pull them up here. You know, a lot of background color to it. You know, artsy, kind of an artsy look. You know, you're getting a really good player image, a lot of action in the image, and you're getting that vibrant color from the background. So it's something definitely to check out.
What's also cool, what I really liked about this year is it does not have the player's first name on the front of the card. It just says Judge, McGuire, you know, whoever the player is. I think it's kind of neat. It gives it a little different look. I know we were talking a week or two ago about the new design of 2019 Flagship, where it had the first name over the last name, and some people were...
I mean, the last name over the first name.
Yeah, the last name over the first name.
Right.
This one's kind of nice. It's just a really clean look, which works well with the design because, you know, it is kind of a funky design. Last year had like that street art, you know, graffiti type look as an insert, which had, you know, all the players' nicknames, which I thought was really neat. It's a fun set. You know, I don't know if it'd be something that you'd try to piece together due to price points and availability, but at least overall for me, it's a really fun set and probably one of the sets that I enjoy collecting more than some of the hobby releases. Like Tim said, I think that it'd be cool if it was in a hobby setting, but my real beef, the only thing that I'm upset about is that we don't know about this until it's here.
Kind of there. Yep.
You know, we were there 3-4 days late on it. It's like, wait a minute, now I've got to go look for this stuff again.
Yeah.
I would have liked to know, because I'd like to budget and know, do I buy an expensive autograph for $80? Do I have that $80 in my budget, or am I piecing together, you know, in this case, a 12-card base team set plus a couple of inserts and maybe a couple of autos I wouldn't mind chasing? Same $80, right? How do you spend it twice? You can't.
Yep.
Give me a heads up and let me make that choice.
Well, speaking of spending $80 in retail product, we're going to go to the next new release this week. 2018 Topps Diamond Icons baseball released yesterday at about $1,500 a box. So right, real affordable. One pack per box, 10 cards per pack. You're getting 7 autos, 2 autographed relics, and a relic card in here. This is the second year for the release. Every card is limited to 25 or less. There's no true base set. Everything's hand signed, and following every other box is a cut sig. So you have 5 autograph sets in here. The base has 3 parallels. The cut signatures, there's 116 subjects out of 4, and then there's a gold 1 of 1. And then there's a mortal cut signatures, which is a 22 card set. They're all 1 of 1s. And then you have the 5 autograph relic set, and those guys are the jumbo patch. There's 36 subjects in there out of 25 or less. And then they go down. There's 10, 5, and 1. One of my other favorite one was dual team auto relics. There's 8 cards in this, and they're all out of 10 or less. Like one had Bryant and Trout. One had Ichiro and Hideki Matsui. I think another one was like Jeter and Mario and Rivera. You have 5 relic sets in here, and they had Logo Man patches, and they're all 1 of 1s. And this is one that's at a definitive collection.
No, I was just gonna say, you mean cut cards?
Yes.
Speaking of,
that was actually pulled at my LCS the same day I was in there. Actually, yesterday. So no, I saw some of this and a few breaks of this, and just the cards are gorgeous. You have this cool box that opens up, a little magnetic box, and it comes out, and there's this big plastic case in there, and all the cards are protected. There's a foam underneath, and you're pulling these gorgeous cards out, all hand signed. I saw, Cal Ripken, his gorgeous signature on one of them. The cut autos in there, out of 4, which is really cool. My favorite one that I saw was, his name just fell out. The guy that did was the Eagles announcer and the Phillies announcer for a long time, did NFL films. He had a signature in there. God, I feel so dumb for him blanking on his name.
We're not going to help you because we want to watch you be dumb.
Yes. Anyway, so you guys, you trying to find one of these cards to add to your collection, or are you just enjoying it from afar?
Definitely from afar. I've got a few car payments to make, and none of them are. I mean, there's better ways for me to spend $1,600, $1,500.
Yeah, $1,500.
Great looking cards, sure, and some of the hit cut cards look nice, but I'll take my chances on lesser products.
Yeah, if you're going to go search eBay for your favorite player, you might want to make sure you have at least $100 available before you even start searching, because these cards are going to cost at minimum. I'm sure you're going to get cards that are less, but they're going to be few and far between. Just if you just search 2018 Diamond Icons and go from there, you're going to end up seeing a lot of cards for selling for $150, $170, which is fair. People have to make a return. They got to get their money back, and so triple threads, 5-star museum, a lot of these these boxes that cost $200-$300 and then considerably above, it's what they cost. I mean, I was surprised years ago that I got a Ricky Henderson base from Transcendent for $27 at auction. Ricky Henderson, and you're talking about a $27,000 box, pack, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
So yeah, they're gorgeous, like Stephen said. But
yeah, they're good looking card. I did see a couple of case breaks of this. They were doing it by the box. There's 4 boxes in a case, but they were selling spots. They're 10 spots for $150 a piece. So, somebody hit a Shohei, redemption. So I mean, that definitely was worth your $150. But if you pull a Tom Glavine, I don't know if you feel like your $150 was worth it. But hey, for $150, you got to gamble. That's not too bad. Probably one of the better ways to go, or buy it on secondary market if you have a guy. So, hey, guys, first, this comes out tomorrow, 2018-19, Panini's Contenders Draft Pick Basketball.
No.
18-19 draft classes here.
On.
But don't get sad. Don't get sad because more 17-18 products coming out. We got like 3 or 4 more.
No.
So don't worry. But
you messed up numbers earlier. Are you sure you got those 2 right?
I did. 18-19. And I saw a box opened. So my buddies at Mojo Break on their podcast yesterday, they opened a personal box for themselves just to kind of show what the cards look like, and it's definitely a contender. It has a contenders look, feel, all the tickets and stuff. So we're gonna get into this. So you get it for about $112 a box. There's 6 packs per box, 18 cards per pack. You're gonna get 6 autos. So every pack has an auto. There's 35 season ticket base cards in there. 35 variations and a parallel. It's a 50 card base set of the season tickets with the mixed with vets and retired stars, all in NBA jerseys. And then the contenders draft pick ticket set is and the remainder of the primary set consists of their autographed ticket cards. There's the college ticket cards, international ticket cards. So the college tickets have some subsets. They're a subset. They're all hard signed. Each player has 3 image variations, and then there's the draft ticket, the cracked ice ticket, playoff ticket, champ ticket, and printing plates. And so these guys, if you like, I'm a KU fan, right? So Malik Newman's in there. He didn't get drafted, but he's got a card and it's autographed, and it's a terrible autograph. It basically is an M with a squiggle, but you know what? I'm a KU guy, and he's in his KU uniform, but I don't really collect basketball, but I'll collect KU autographs, so I'll be looking for that one. But it was really popular last year, did really well, and it's a first taste before the season starts here of NBA basketball product. So DeAndre Ayton, Marvin Bagley III, Doncic, that scrub that's down in Atlanta that just shoots the ball.
Trae
Young, who's just no. I'm telling you right now. Anyway, so those guys are out. Thoughts? I know you guys aren't huge basketball collectors, but the Contenders brand overall.
No, Contenders was always one of my favorite ones when I was collecting football. I like the overall look of the contenders. I think there's a couple of non-licensed baseball ones.
Yep.
It's exciting to see 18-19 being released since we are right up against the beginning of training camp. How dare they? Having so much fun with the 17-18 stuff, but it's good to finally have an opportunity to get your new favorite, rookie, especially since this class is so unique. Where outside of maybe Ayton at number one and Doncic and Bagley, there's a handful of guys considered for those top 5 positions, but really, are you getting an equal guy at 15 as you were getting at number 3 this year? It's quite possible. This one was extremely deep, so it'd be fun to finally have some of those guys that hit the open market.
And what about $112 a box and you're getting 6 autos?
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah, in a deep class like this, again, we were talking before we started the podcast. We were talking a little bit about Mike Trout's value and whatnot, and other players that might someday have value. You're talking about 6 autos with $100 plus all the other inserts and base you're going to get. Even if you didn't hit Ayton or really any of the top 5 guys, like I said, you might very well be lucky by not hitting those guys.
Well, and out of this product last year, Kuzma and Mitchell were coming out all the time because they were lower end first round picks. They weren't in the top. They weren't in the top 5, and we know what those guys did and what their card values did last year. So who knows? There's not one or two of those guys in this year's class.
A couple weeks ago, I mentioned I had watched that Legends of Basketball break, I believe it was, or that pre-encased product Mojo break was busting, and they pull. They got a Kareem auto, I think it was, and it's the one that had all the ball kids in it.
Yeah, Leafs greatest hits.
Boom. They yank out a Draymond Green, who at that time would have been a throwaway auto. He's a 2nd round pick. He's on the Warriors, kind of a tweener. What position does he truly play? At that time, you probably would have threw it in a box and go, whatever. But now that we know what he has become, all of a sudden, what was probably a fairly common autograph in a lot of products back then, becomes a very valuable autograph.
Yep.
Heck, one of my favorite all-time NBA players, Manu Ginobili, retired this week. He was a final pick of that draft.
Is he the guy that manufactures all the patches, Manu?
He does, absolutely. Okay. They do it down in Argentina.
All the Walmart cards.
We have a lot this week, so I want to get us moving on here. So we want to move on what's brewing next week's releases. So we have 4. We have 2018 Leaf History of Baseball Cut Signatures Edition. We also have 2018 Panini Absolute Football releases, 2018 Topps Luminary Baseball, and here you go, 2017-18 Panini Vanguard Basketball.
I knew it was too good to be true.
It's back. So some a handful of releases. Nothing. Absolute's probably going to be the most popular release next week. Vanguard will have some love definitely with that 17-18 class that we just can't get enough of. I'm still waiting for 0304 draft class stuff to pop out next week as well.
Preliminary tentative cut signature for Leaf History of Baseball. Babe Ruth, some Bill Clinton guy, Connie Mack, Dizzy Dean, Hank Greenberg, Jimmy Fox, Joe DiMaggio, Lou Gehrig, Mel Ott, Mickey Mantle, Nellie Fox, Pie Trainer, Roger Maris, Sandy Koufax, Satchel Paige, Ted Williams, Ty Cobb, Willie Mays.
Not bad.
Subject
Amazing.
to change.
It cracks me up with every one of these releases where they get all of these cut signatures, allegedly.
So I want to move on to Infield Chat, our hobby top section. We have a handful of topics. The hobby's been hot in the last week here. The first one we'll open up is with Topps Big League, right? So we talked about this a few weeks ago. We like the design. We like the cards. A great Twitter follow, Booby Main at Robbie T86 on Twitter. Opened what I counted in a photo was 16 blasters and still was 40 cards short of a complete base set. That's 45 base cards per box. So if you do the math, that's 720 base cards he pulled. It's a 400 card base set. Still couldn't build the set. He still was short 40 cards. And so I want your thoughts on that. But then also too today at Stale Gum, Chris Harris. If you don't follow him, follow him. He's a fun follow in the hobby. He always talks about cards all the time. # thanks Topps. Calls Topps Big League the real 2008 flagship. and I want to read the whole tweet here because it was great. It says, Big League is the real, in quotes, 2018 top flagship set. Great design, borders, 400 cards, no insert bloat, few gimmicks. If only flagship were more like Big League. So from a guy that's been collecting a lot, that tweets a lot about the hobby, I thought those were some interesting thoughts. Guys, what are your thoughts on Booby's problem? And then what are your thoughts on what Chris had to say?
Well, I know that because he's been posting into the same DM group all of his blaster breaks. He's up to like $400 or $500 worth spent. And sure, some of that's going to be collation issues, but there's no way that he probably shouldn't have a complete box, complete master set almost for what's supposed to be an entry-level product. It is a really nice looking set. I have a few in hand. I like the stock. It's pretty good for an entry-level set. But I'm really surprised he hasn't broke the full set yet.
I saw that and I felt bad for Robbie, but then what you look at is, when you're buying two, this is one of the first products in a long time I considered buying a box of, but then because the price point's great, it was what, $42 or $45 a box, and I thought no, because again I'm gonna have to buy two boxes to complete a set at the hobby. The problem with a blaster is they're not really designed as set building per se. If you buy enough like he did, yeah, you're bound to stumble into a complete set, but the collation issues aren't going to be the same. I mean, my first question is, did he buy them all at the same store, the same batch, et cetera, et cetera? There's a lot of variables that could come into play. My heart goes out to him because he spent a ton of money on probably what, a $30 to $50 set maybe. I don't know what they go for.
There's really no other way to build it, right? So
but my love for Big League, like Stefan said, they're a great set, and I know we're going to get into what Chris said. Great set. For me, though, as soon as I found out it replaced Topps Bunt Physical, which had come out last year, I was a little upset because I thought Bunt was a great physical product. Really?
I liked it. I think it looks better. I think it's a better product. Bunt to me was throwaway. Like it looked.
I loved Bunt, but
the card stock was not good.
It wasn't necessarily good, but they were nice designs. I got the blue parallel set, the green parallel set, and I think the negative or the orange parallel set. I thought it was a really fun, inexpensive.
Like if you were going to get a top loader for it, you wouldn't need a 35 point. You would need like a 6 point.
17,
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking stock issues versus, now that they're in a binder, so you're not physically touching them, what do you enjoy looking at? I love Big League. I really do. It's like, hey, get Bunt in there too and do away with some other crap like Topps High Tech or, Inception or some crap.
So we got a couple comments. Aaron K said in the chat here, said, I like Big League. I did 2 boxes, enjoyed it. Still need to sort and see if I have a complete set. And then, Ryan Cracknell announced tonight, everybody, Big League lost me when the dogs disappeared. So, but I don't know. I think it was just an interesting topic this week. I mean, it's one of those sets if you're a kid, that this was the set that was kind of geared towards you, a cheaper blaster and packs and good looking cards. But I think they're on the right path with it. I think they need to keep pushing forward and keep this quality up, which is a good thing.
And that was the last thing that I was going to add. I know Robbie was talking about because if you look at the blaster box, and I'm not sure about Hobby. They have a card that you can cut out that aimed at kids. He was talking about bringing all of his blaster boxes into work because he works for a print shop, I believe, and using the manual print cut things to make sure that he's got the perfectly cut cards, unlike say Post from the 60s. I mean, it's definitely a set for kids, and it's good design. So
no, it's a good set. And the A's had 12 base cards plus 3 league leaders. So they had a 15 total. The gold borders, was a really nice, parallel set. It's not gold like Topps flagship is, where you kind of have to look at it under a light, or the rainbow ones, which are a lot harder to even decipher. Sometimes depending on the lighting in your house. I've got horrible lighting in my house. These were just a solid stock gold edge. I enjoyed it. All the nonsense about it replacing Bunt aside, is probably one of my more favorite sets as a team collector. So yeah, if you're a set collector, I mean, 400 cards, that's an extremely healthy base set.
Oh yeah. Well, I want to move on to another hot topic this week. The hottest card in the hobby right now. Ben, can you tell me what it is from 2018?
Probably Topps Fire McGuire. I mean, dude, it's on fire. First off, it's McGuire. I mean, what more could you possibly want?
No, I'm talking like really. What do you think the hottest card is right now? If you had to pick one base card out of a recent release that everybody's going after.
If I didn't have the document up, I would have guessed something Trout based.
Yes.
Either Trout or Kuna, depending on which consumer market we're considering.
Okay,
right.
So what if I told you it was card number 83 out of Allen and Ginter, and it was cryptocurrency?
Yes, a lot of conversation about this card this week.
Yeah, so the 101 Topps Vault blank back had 50 bids sold for just under 2,500. A red parallel out of 5 from Ginter X went for 1,000. There's base versions with 20 completed auctions that sold for over 100, and many more available 50 plus right now. We're talking a base card out of a couple dollar pack, out of a less than about $100 box, where you pull this one card and it's selling for what you paid for the box. So the reason being is that people in the cryptocurrency were collecting this card, and they're not even card collectors, but they're scooping these up quick.
See, people that are not card collectors don't have the same understanding of market worth and value that we do. They're simply prospectors. That's all they are. If you're the kind of person investing in cryptocurrency, regardless of how you feel about the long term, as somebody with an economics background, my view is probably considerably different than somebody else. But the bottom line is they live in a different financial world than we do, and that's the bottom line. $2,500 for a blank back 1 of 1. I mean, when I see a blank back 1 of 1 McGuire coming up from Ginter, I mean, I got outbid on it the other day. I think I put $33 and sold for 36, and I'm just like, man, do I really need it for that kind of $33? Right. So to think 25, and that's my guy. That's my guy, my team. This is somebody dropping $2,500 on a card, a tangible asset that, what are they looking for on a return?
Yep.
That's not a card collector. I can almost guarantee you that owns that card now.
Steph, did you pick it up, Steph? Were you the guy?
Nope, not me.
Okay.
I didn't use my Bitcoins to purchase it. I didn't use any of that. It's one of those things that I really think it's a artificial scarcity where they didn't know that it existed. Hey, here it exists, and quick, buy them up as you can. Well, I didn't get the last one, so let me get the next one. Well, I didn't get that one, and it's eventually going to run out. They're going to go down to $5-10 cards as they should be. It's just a base card. Now, if it was a short printed one, maybe that should have been a thing Topps did. Make it number like 325 or so, 350, whatever their short print in the base set is.
Who would have anticipated though?
Yeah, it was crazy though, right? Like just even if even it was a short print, it's still a crazy amount for these cards.
Absolutely. No,
I just think it was a neat little thing, like other people kind of peeking into the hobby and.
Sure. Did you see what Brent Williams tweeted out? What he and other sellers were having issues with?
Yeah, that's the first mention. This late in the show. We're
shot.
So Brent was
4 minutes into the show.
There's an eBay buyer apparently that was buying complete sets. He was pulling that particular. I'm assuming it's a man, so I apologize for the assumption, but we're gonna go ahead and call him a him. He was pulling out the cryptocurrency base card, and then he was returning for a full refund the complete set minus that card. Now, Brent Williams, for instance, gets the set back. He cannot resell it because it's now an incomplete set. Right. And so apparently, based on if I read everything correctly, this guy's getting this card for free. And eBay was aware of it, but he wasn't being punished. Apparently, eBay was taking care of the seller so that they weren't having to eat the cost because now they've got a product that's not complete any longer. But apparently he had done it multiple times with really no repercussions because eBay wasn't really doing anything. So there's no reason for him not to continue to do it. So with this particular card, it's getting kind of like a wild west a little bit for these people trying to chase a base card that I almost guarantee you a lot of people probably threw it to the side because it's
Sure.
a non-sports card. So
Yeah.
if you were buying a blaster without really knowing what Ginter's about, you'll pull your base cards and chuck all the rest of the stuff to the side. I bet there's a lot of them sitting around
Go
that
make
people
yourself
aren't even aware that they
go
own.
sell one and go buy another box, right? So moving on, talking about boxes for sale. So 2018 Panini Chronicles. We talked about this already earlier in the show. It's sold out. It's gone. There's no more. You can't get it. Well, according to Panini. So they tweeted that back on the 27th from the handle at Panini America. It's official at Panini America's new 2018 Chronicles baseball is sold out. Hashtag who do you collect? Hashtag thank you. And then I saw it from Blowout, and they said, "Hey, come to us before we sell out." You know, and like I said, after actually getting it in my hands and seeing the cards, right? You know, so I just don't get it. Like I have this. This is nice. I mean, it's a big, thick Spectra George Brett.
Spectra's a really nice parallel set in there.
Those really are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I got this sparkly blue one. A little hard to see, but sparkly blue George Brett. But this is my Alex Gordon, and we showed the judge last week. And if you guys are, I'm sorry if you guys are, just listening and not viewing. But what's cool on iTunes is it has our video. So hello, we're one of the fancy podcasts. But if you look here and see, like this is it's like again we talk about thickness of cardstock. I mean, I guess it's pretty close to normal, but it's just real basic, and you're getting the same picture on the back.
Right.
Well,
There's less words.
We joked last week about it being. How many times have you ever been like right up against paycheck? Right, I don't get paid for 2 days, and I'm hungry, and I can't afford to go buy myself a Taco Bell, and so you go into the kitchen and you start looking for leftovers and ingredients, and you throw some chicken and some tuna fish and some top ramen in a pan, and you're like dinner because I have nothing else. We were joking about that last week. They threw Prism and Spectra and Studio and
Score 19.
Score.
There were 19.
Yeah, there was 19 parallels, and I got my team set today, which featured 2 base, 3 Spectra, and a Studio. There wasn't a ton of A's. I was a little upset that there wasn't a Score, honestly, because those actually, we talked about that last week, looked really nice.
Yep.
But yeah, so overall, if you're talking about a team set with the parallels, there was only 6 A's cards featured. But yeah, it just seems like that's what they did was they grabbed a little bit of this and a little bit of that out of the fridge and freezer.
I want to get back on the topic just a little bit. When the manufacturer says they've sold out, they've sold everything they have. That doesn't mean it's not. That means that it's just sitting now in distributors' warehouses.
Yep.
So this increase your false market thing, like, oh shit, I better go get this.
Oh, it creates it creates that artificial market
and this product to me is, I was talking to the guy that owns our LCS, Greg Lambert, great guy, and I was asking like what's been hot lately. Because I wanted to see if he just organically told me to go ahead and buy some Chronicles, and he said Chrome Baseball, of course. Stadium Club's been he can't keep cases in. Of course, he's selling at $65 a box, by the way, for 2 autos and Stadium Club. Like, yes, please. He also said that Optic was on fire for a while, and just in the one store up here in Sacramento, 7 Ohtani autographs out of 2 cases at Optic. So if you're looking for some values, those would be there. I just don't believe. I think they're just trying to get people to go out and buy this so they can make it next year.
Well, see,
they don't ever see this when other products sells out, like National Treasures. That stuff's selling out. Prism basketball sells out.
It's one of those things for anybody who's ever shopped at IKEA. They keep you there because they sell food, right? I don't even have to leave to go get lunch or dinner, right? Good. But it's at an economic price. I can get myself. The 3 of us could eat some meatballs for $15, $5 a piece. We can't go do that at Carl's Jr. or McDonald's or whatever fast food joint you have near you, right? It's going to cost us $30. So, but what they do is they create this false bearing of, man, if their food is that inexpensive and affordable, then when I go over and look at this couch in this bed and they're saying, oh, all these pieces together is $1,100, I'm thinking, man, that's got to be a good deal because, you already have this false sense in your mind. So with Panini Chronicles, maybe Panini is kind of throwing this out there. Hey, it's sold out. creating this sense of urgency. Well, I better go get mine because if I want it, it's gonna be gone. Because they're already saying that everything that's out there, there's no more sitting in Panini's warehouse.
Right.
So when my local card shop or eBay decides that's it, Dave and Adams and Blowout, they're gone. They're gone for good. But then my other thought was, they might not just. I mean, that last year's product was a dog. If we're ranking them 1 through 50 or how many ever independent releases came out, I almost guarantee you that Chronicles is going to show up on most collectors.
Well, let's put a little bet down. I'm saying Black Friday sales, you're going to be able to get some Panini Chronicles, by the way, late November.
Oh, I can imagine, yeah. I think they probably held back a little bit in the production, because when I saw that the other day, my first thought was, whoa, there's still a Matt Olson card that is numbered out of 99 I haven't seen hit yet. So if it's sold out, that means there should be, in theory, a lot of this product in collectors' hands. And if you're going to see 3 to 5% at least hit eBay, and that's just one player from my team. I would imagine if I was looking at the entire checklist, there's other players and other subsets that haven't popped yet. Where are they?
Yeah.
They're still somewhere.
Steph, what do you think? I mean, are we Ben and I crazy here? Or?
I mean, I'm certainly a huge Panini homer, and I buy a good ton of their products every year. Last year, it wasn't the greatest. Even I thought it was kind of a stretch as a set. I like the idea behind it, but that they already sold out, it makes me wonder how many they actually produced.
Can you go check the warehouse for us?
Yeah, you're right in the backyard.
I just need an invite.
So,
it's just one of those that, not necessarily, okay, it's all sold out and that's all at distributors and all at retail. But if it's already sold out to that degree, did they only produce like 400 cases, 500 cases?
Here's what you need to do. You need to go Sandlot style. All right. You need to hop over their back fence, run in there when it's open.
They don't have a back fence.
See? Look.
Real quick.
You couldn't have hopped in anyway.
I'm going to put Steph on camera here. Does everybody notice how he's sponsored tonight by Panini America and by Diet Coke?
Really comfortable shirts, by the way.
I'm just letting you know that he's taking sponsorship offers. He's the NASCAR of our podcast.
Damn right.
I want to move on to a fun card that we saw this week, and it had some life back in 2013. It was 2013 Topps Ultimate Chase Babe Ruth 1/1. I remember this card back in the day being pulled by it was pulled here by Stacy at Slim Slow. We've talked to her about her before a little bit on the show, but it was like her first ever box, and she pulls this monster of a card. Well, she had it graded at Beckett back then, and it's an auto relic graded 9/5/10 by Beckett, and she got it it was a great story. If you look back, I mean, Steph, you said it was in the front page, like the featured story in a Beckett, correct?
It's on the front cover. Actually,
and it sold for an unknown price. Now, people ask her, how much did you sell it for? But it's one of those things, that's kind of weird. It probably sold for a pretty nice amount. It's a gorgeous card, nice little bat relic, and an awesome signature right on top of it. It's a sharp card. Someone asked, and why did you get a one of her graded? She wanted to protect such a nice card, and also she got a tour of Beckett while it was being graded, which I think is pretty neat. She got this cool card. They invited her down and all that stuff. So, I mean, you're probably talking a few, tens of thousands of dollars on something like this, maybe.
Tens, probably not hundreds.
Tens,
50 to 60, maybe.
Now, I don't have a Babe Ruth card. I mean, I have a Babe Ruth card. I mean, it's a 19, it's a 2015 Topps Babe Ruth card or whatever. But does anybody? Oh, look at this. Is that jersey relic and a bat relic here by Steph? And that's out of Diamond Kings. What year?
2015
Diamond Kings Babe Ruth.
Yep,
that's pretty sharp.
It is. And unlike Stacy, I won't be ruthless.
Oh. Anyway, just one of those things. Pretty cool card that to be talked about, and it's one of those things. We have a handful. We have a lot of topics in Field Chatter. We were going to have another topic. Our buddy Ken Kensley was talking about investment and card collecting in the hobby today, and it exploded. And we want to talk about it. We're gonna have to push that to another date just because we don't have enough time tonight. But Ken, thanks for starting that wildfire. It was great. I love seeing it all over Twitter. There you go. There's a great picture of the card as well.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to move on. We have two last topics here before we get to through this section here. But 2019 Topps, we talked about this last week a little bit. We have some more details about the set that came out. So they're going to have the 35th anniversary set in there again. So it's 84 Topps. They're going to have autographed versions and a relic version. That's Mattingly rookie year. If you want to remember, it's got the square picture in the corner instead of the round one like 83. A couple insert sets, the evolution of, and that focuses on many changes in the game over the years. There's also Greatness Returns. It's a modern star alongside a retired star. Revolution of the game-changing subjects who weren't players. And then there's 150 years of professional baseball. There's 50 of the greatest players, 50 of the greatest moments, and then an assortment of greatest seasons during the last 150 years.
Which I like as a concept.
Yes. So it's going to be interesting to see. This kind of goes deeper into what we talked about last week was just the base version of the card coming out and the design with the last name above the top and no borders still, which I do miss borders. # bring borders back. Right. But I'm excited. I like these anniversary things. I mean, they started a couple years ago with 87 Topps and being the 30th anniversary. And then this year they dropped back. They went back 5 years and said 35. They're going to start doing the 35th one. I think 84 is a sharp design. All these sets through the 80s I thought had a pretty good design. I think 86 would be exciting design.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is in 3 years we're going to have 1987 Topps 35th anniversary edition. Yeah,
right. And so I don't know. Maybe they go back to they jump ahead to the 20th. I don't know. We'll see.
40th.
But did you guys see any of these mock-ups? I know that Beckett had them. Had a great story on it by Ryan and shared some of the stuff.
I've seen a few of them, and like I said, I like the 150th anniversary concept. It's going to be interesting to see who they include, what seasons. I mean, you're talking like the 98 Yankees, the 01 Mariners, et cetera, et cetera. Some of the greatest players, it'd be interesting to see, who they have a license to include, because sometimes you have to exclude players that they don't have a license for to use images of. That they could have included. The greatest moments, again, sure. But I say this every year. I initially don't like the design, but once I actually see them or see them mocked up in Chrome, it kind of grows on me. And I think it's just that first fresh open pack of the year.
Yeah, I'm such a nerd for flagship. I don't care.
Right.
If it's ugly. I'm collecting it. I'm sorry. That's me. I'm the flagship nerd, and I'm okay with it. I'll carry that flag. I'll carry that flag all day long.
I mean, I'm gonna open up a pack or two of it, and then just buy my Twins team sets like I always do.
Except for this year. Real quick. This is one of the ugliest years.
Nice. Yeah. Had a pretty good guy in that set.
Yep.
Some Mariner rookie.
Ichiro. Ben, any thoughts? You're kind of quiet.
No, I was just listening to what you guys had to say. Now I'm
not dominating.
No, I when I saw the Mattingly, I was like, it's no secret to anybody who knows me what I collect and what I prefer. But I saw that Mattingly, and I was like, well, wait a minute,
right?
I'm
his autograph
collector.
His autograph is so nice. Like these guys from the '80s know how to sign some autographs.
Yeah, no, there are 84 was such a great. That was one of the first years when I started collecting 87 that I wanted to go back and grab some of as a kid. So 84 is always going to be kind of near and dear to my heart as a third or fourth favorite set from that era. So no, I'm excited to see what all comes out of it. I like the 50-50-50. Of course, by the time you get to update, it's 150, 150, 150 if they continue it through all three.
Yeah, which is fun.
So it'll be kind of fun. I mean, anytime you introduce something new and it's not just okay, you mentioned they did 87, the anniversary. Now they've done 83s, and then they're going to do 84s. You can do 85. What happens in 2022 when they get to 87s is something you mentioned to me the other day, Tim. And it's like, it's just generic. It's stale. Come up with something new. So I like this. They did the 100 Years of Wrigley a couple years ago. It's like a 25 card set.
2015. Yep.
Was that what it was? And they did
I think so.
cards your mom threw out, which was really neat. Back in 2010.
Okay, I want to raise my hand. I'm going to raise my hand though. That was cool then, but since then, they keep and it was brought up. It was brought up by Wax Heaven. They keep using like the 87 Conseco, right? And then they keep showing that same image. Why don't they use that same border but change the photos up a little bit from back in the day? It would look great. Just a variation of that same card, of that iconic stock, right? But a different photo from that same year or era. I think it would make it so much more fun, because then you're like, oh, this isn't the same.
It's neat. What year was it that they did? It was 2005 or something. They had a set of, I believe it was 25 cards, where it was rookie cards. So it'd be like the 1969 Reggie Jackson, but it had a different photo. And it was like a 25 card set of infamous rookie cards. Do you remember that, Stefan? I'd have to go back and look at my
blanks.
I'd have to go back and look at my notes to figure out what set it is. Like I said, I know there was a Jackson and a Henderson, so it wouldn't be that hard to figure out. But it was neat. They had the Johnny bench, the 1968 bench, and the 68 Nolan Ryan, and it was a different picture.
Yeah, and the thing is because when you go to search that original rookie card, all these reprints pop up.
Yep.
And it's just kind of it's a little frustrating on that part. And
how many 1969 Reggie Jackson reprint archives and throwbacks and Burger's
all-time fan favorites and
was it the all-time fan favorite set from 05?
That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm looking.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're on without me. I'm not next to my computer, so it'd be very difficult for me to pull up my database. But you guys get the point. How many of the same rookie cards? I mean, we know all the iconic rookie cards. We all either have them or we have reprints of them. How many versions that are stamped 10 different ways? If you're Tanner when he was collecting all the different Consecos, cool. You want them all because why not? But it's frustrating as a fan. I want something else, and there's already enough conversation about Getty Images.
Right.
Don't recycle the same thing and just stick a different stamp on it with a new year. I don't need that.
But I really like the card stock they had on those 87s and what they did with these 83s this year. It's a little thicker, but you kind of get that old card stock feel, but with that gloss on the top and the stamp, and it's a good card. And they're also
dull chrome.
Yeah. And they're gonna bring back the silver packs, which I think is a great promotion. It's fun. I mean, that's just cool to get two. When you buy a jumbo, get 2 packs. You buy a hobby, you get 1. It's fun. But I want to move on to our last subject tonight in Infield chatter here. Gary V again. We're gonna bring him up. He was selling cards on Twitter like Don West. And for any of you those guys don't remember Don West back on the TV in the late 80s and early 90s on the shopping channel, just selling boxes of cards. And as a kid, I was like, just buy them all, because he was selling boxes and sets of 87 tops and 88 tops and all the traded sets, and everything was right there. Buy it now for $59.99. I'll ship it to your house. And they were back there, just keep printing them, and they just kept putting them out. That's why there's so much of this great stuff that we call junk wax. But yeah, Gary V. So people were calling out, he's selling this junk wax. He was selling lots of like 50 cards for $1 a piece or so, $1.25. I think some of them were going for $75. Like one of was the 87 Donruss rookies, Rafael Palmeiro, who's selling 50 for $50. Right. Saying if the steroids guys get in, that these are going to be super valuable. And people are like, oh, one just sold for a penny on eBay and all this stuff. And it is what it is, but I think he's been kind of got on me. He's like, why are we talking about this guy again? And I said, well, he's been injecting himself a lot into the hobby the last few weeks. He's got like 1.7 million followers. So he's reaching out to a lot of people that aren't currently in the hobby and bringing them into cards. And these are guys that are, in our age group that are following him and even younger, saying, okay, hey, this guy's selling these cards. Maybe there's something to this. I should look in and maybe start to invest in cards. And again, this gets into Ken's topic earlier on Twitter and a bigger topic, but it's one of those things that I think that it's going to bring in a different segment of people just peeking in, pulling back the curtain, looking in like, hey, I collected these cards as a kid. Maybe this is something I should spend some money on and changing some prices. Ben's just shaking his head. Why wouldn't it bring? Okay, if you were a kid collecting cards, I didn't collect cards from 95 until 2011. Those years I didn't buy any cards at all for decades. I went in, I got my cards back in my hand in 2012, looked at them, stopped at a shop to grab a bucket because that's what I remember doing to look up values, bought some packs, and now I'm doing this show years later, and I got all of these cards behind me. This whole room is full of cards. Why don't you think that could help somebody hop back into the hobby that hasn't collected for 15 years?
If it's somebody that's already invested some significant portion of their life, yeah, it might. I'm the same way. I stopped collecting around 92, 93. I got back in around 2010. So we're very parallel. I know that you and I both got in 87 as kids. So our collecting history runs parallel. But name a celebrity. Name somebody. I follow Mark Cuban because the guy's an incredible business mind, and sometimes he says stupid crap that's fun to look at and laugh at. But if he all of a sudden posts some random hobby, hey, I'm going to get into restoring old vehicles, coin collecting, and yeah, hey, neat stamps. I'm not gonna all of a sudden go, Mark Cuban says it, so let's have Ben Wilson do it.
But that's you though. That's one person.
So we're speaking
out of 1.7 million people that follow this guy.
How many potential people? I mean, are there going to be a handful that might go, hey, card collecting?
If 0.5% of them get into this, that's a ton of people.
Right.
0.5%.
You're severely overestimating his reach. There are so many people I follow that are celebrities and high profile names on Twitter that half the crap they say is in one ear and out the other. It's like, I've unfollowed or turned off retweets of so many celebrities.
He's not a Kardashian.
No, he's an entrepreneur. He's that's why
but he's a motivational speaker too. So people are following him for inspiration. People are following him to help guide them down a certain path.
If you need a Gary Vee or Tony Robbins to tell you how to live your life, maybe you should look internally. That is such a bogus industry in and of itself. Motivational speaking, come on. All I need to know is my kids have to eat tomorrow for me to get out of bed and brush my teeth and go to work. That's all the motivation I need. Is I got 4 eyes staring at me going, Daddy.
Okay, but that's you.
But that's you. So some people don't have that drive.
But I can only speak for me. I can't speak for the masses. Why? Because that's my influence. I'm not influenced by what other people do.
But that's, again, back to you.
I honestly, I think you're off base. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of people that are all of a sudden going to be hobbyists like us just because Gary Vee goes, hey.
They don't have to. I'm just saying, injecting a few bucks to pick up maybe they're in it for a month and they spend a few $1,000s.
How does that change the meter of the hobby? Because
it doesn't, but it brings people in and it's going to catch a few people. I'm just saying, he's talked about buying a card company. We got into this, right?
Whole different scenario. If he does.
We don't think that's a real thing that could happen. He might be able to buy part of a company, own some shares, whatever. But he keeps bringing this up over and over again, and it's just. Go ahead, Steph. I think it's bringing more eyes to the hobby, and it's going to bring some new people in the hobby.
That's not necessarily a good thing, though.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point.
It may not. I came back in 2009 hardcore. Now I saw some people doing it, and I saw through blogging actually, Night Owl. Card Junk, several of the other people, BD, Adama, great card collecting people, great. I wouldn't have got back into the hobby because of it. Now, would you say that I'm not a useful addition to that? And I can't agree more with what Cracknell said. How many people are buying those just to have a connection to Gary Vee?
I'm glad you brought that up because obviously Ryan wasn't on beforehand. We had actually had that conversation. I brought that up. I said, if something happened to one of us. I mean, when Tanner announced that he was getting out of the Conseco hobby, right. I texted him at the second I found out. I'm like, come on, say it ain't so, Tanner, right? And he goes, nah. He goes, watch the video. And I watched the video of his announcement. And I said, listen, you have Conseco cards. I am an A's collector. So I need some of your collection in my collection. These are cards I can go buy elsewhere. Not all of them because of the extent of his collection, but some of the lower end base cards. I was like, dude, I should have one of your cards in my collection because it's from you. And so yeah, when people are getting upset that he's selling crap cards, these inexpensive junk for $1 a piece in $50 lots, when their true market worth for that amount is $8, $10. It's like, no, I'm buying it because I'm buying it from Gary V. There is an associated value for certain people coming from. I mean, Tim and I were at the card show the other day, right? And there was a Matt Olson Under Armour auto, and I was pretty sure it was about a $25 card, and the guy had 40 on it, and he's like, Tim's like, go buy it. I'm like, I don't necessarily need it. It's not an A's card. It's a Matt Olson card. It's not an A's card. And he goes, go buy it. And I bought it, and later, a couple days later, I looked it up, and I'm like, yep, I was right. I could have these all day long at $25. But I paid 40. Why? Because it was the instant gratification. I paid extra money to get it, just like why you buy boxes at retail at 30% markup. People are buying these from Gary V. Now you have the story. Hey, this here is my cell phone, but I bought it directly from, Mr. Motorola, Mr. Samsung.
But yeah, on the Tanner thing, I know there was even people that had bought autographed Canseco cards for him that asked Tanner to autograph the card as well.
Right.
To say it came from his collection. So that's part of it. But my whole big point on this is that he's opening eyes to people about the hobby and about baseball cards again, that currently majority of them aren't in this or know it's existing. They remember it from when they were younger. They had a friend, a brother, an uncle, a cousin, a sister, a daughter, whatever that was in it. And maybe, hey, like, I should maybe look into this. What's it all about now? Oh, they have these autographs. They have this. Because he opened a bunch of stuff up today. He opened some National Treasure, some Eminence, and some other things. And he's just been posting a lot about it over the last handful of weeks about buying the 86, 87 Fleer, Barclays. And he talked about owning by 2022. He was going to own the most Ewings from that set graded. He's just, it's one of those things. Like, he's being very upfront and open and talking about cards a lot more. And it's just interesting that somebody that all of a sudden that has a big following that wasn't really talking about cards, all of a sudden now is and just hopping in. I just thought it was an interesting subject. I want to see where it goes, where it leads to. It's one of those things like, who knows what it does for the hobby or if it brings anybody in, if not. But I have a feeling that it's going to bring some people back into the hobby or some new people into the hobby, which not always is a good or a bad thing, but we'll have to wait and see.
Just one last thought. I want to clarify my position. Like the old adages say, no news is good news, or any kind of press is always good press because at least they're talking about you. I do think it's positive that he's talking about it because if he's a fellow collector, hey, we're happy to have him in our hobby. We're happy to have him as a spokesman, considering the fact that he does have a healthy following from his other ventures. My main position is I don't think that his presence in the hobby, unless he were to buy a company, is going to change the needle when it comes to market value. These junk wax cards aren't going to all of a sudden jump. That's really what it comes down to. It's not going to move the needle.
Well, I'm not saying it's going to add value that way. It's going to add value to bringing people. It's going to be the taste that gets them back in. And then they're going to figure out what to collect. And we talked about these Trout rookie prices earlier, before we started, before the show. And how crazy, just real quick, Topps 2011 Topps update, Mike Trout is running anywhere from 150 to 400. The black parallel out of 67 grand to 12,000. The cognac, which isn't even numbered, 600 to 1,200. A diamond update, 800 to 1,500. You're looking at the gold out of 2011, $500 to $1,000. And this. And the Hope Diamond, which was numbered out of 60 as well, 7,000 to 12,000. We're talking for a base card that's pulled out of a jumbo box of 2011 Topps, which at the back in the day, in 11 and 12, you get these for $50 sometimes if you were lucky, a box. Well, it's just going to bring people back in going like, oh, God.
Yeah, no, I mean, I mentioned kind of off the cuff comment how all of us growing up, I wish I could build a time machine and go back to 1952 and buy a bunch of boxes at a nickel a piece, right, for a pack. And it's like we had the 52 mantle, the modern day 52 mantle sitting here 7 years ago. with where we could access it for inexpensive amounts, boxes for $50, and you probably buy that single for a couple of bucks here and there, and you could literally hoard it. And that's a reflection of what this hobby is to a degree, where, especially the Bowman Chromes, you got people that are in here looking for investments, which kind of leads us into a whole other conversation like Ken was talking about, the investment versus the hobby, which we can get into. But, the people that are able to afford these, that are buying these, that are creating this market for them, are not the average collector. Thank God Mike Trout's not an Oakland A from the hobby perspective, because, I mean, if he was a Royal, if he was a Twin, what would you guys do? You couldn't collect his rookie card. You could get the base one, and that would be it.
Well, I was lucky enough. I had a good friend that sold me a whole complete 11 update base set recently.
Probably should have charged him more, apparently. But no, no, it's one of those things that you were getting to, but you didn't quite say, Ben. If those people want to buy it from him at that price, who are we to argue?
Oh, absolutely.
Caveat emptor, buyer beware. If they don't know that it's only worth a nickel, that's their wallet book that's going to hurt. But if they're paying because it's from him, that adds value in their mind why they're picking it up. So if they're happy with the purchase, they're happy with the purchase. They're not going to be able to flip it for that price. Good luck. But it's their wallet book. So who are we to tell them no? If they want to join in and start buying up nickel cards, dime cards, and trying to sell them for $1, good luck. If you can actually do it, hey, congrats.
I just think people went overboard that went after him and said, started to attack him. And he even came back and said maybe he needs to start. He tweeted that he's sorry he didn't create enough context for the card collecting community, and he'll have to create more clarity in the future. He's getting serious with his cards, as we talked about. So it's one of those things just to keep an eye on, be aware of. And what? Hey, it's a fun follow. And like, he has some videos where he just kind of talks, and there's some things like he says that I agree with, like, about like how people are nowadays, and they want things to happen to them, but they're not willing to put the work in to get there. Right.
And the other day,
if you don't want to better your situation, awesome, that's you. But if you want to better your situation, then you're going to go and have to bust your hump or figure out a way to get there and do it yourself, because no one's going to pull you along.
Well, the other day when everybody was buying these $50 lots, and we're looking at it like, are you kidding me? You were in a fantasy football draft last night, right?
Yeah.
It's the two positions that you always see a run on for fantasy football. You'll see one person draft a kicker, and then somebody else drafts a kicker, and next thing you know, everybody's trying to grab their kicker.
And then I laugh, take a kick at the end, and I'm happy.
Yeah, defense is the other one. There's only one or two dominant kickers in defenses, and if you don't get them, the number 3 through 18 are all the same. And it's one of those things too. Is sometimes you get caught up in the hoopla. Mm-hmm. Remember the other day at the LCS, Tim, we went to a show together. We opened up 87 Topps packs together. We were excited, and next thing you know, we're at LCS like, oh, should we spend $150 on a box of this or that? And we're like, no, that's not us. At least not today.
Said that, and we both, all 3 times we ended up walking away, and it was just fun.
And it's, if you want to open up a box of the next big product when it comes out, so that we can do it where maybe we can try to piece together our base sets respectively, and if they get a big hit, we can sell it off and try to get some of our money back. Cool, I'm good with that. But that particular day, we were really getting caught up in the excitement. There was nothing on that shelf we wanted. There was nothing we needed. We were literally opening up a box to open up a box.
Except for that mint. We need that. We should have opened that mint box.
Yeah, well, if it wasn't, if the decimal point was anywhere differently other than 700,
yeah,
if we could have moved it to the left a little bit, we'd have been good.
And real quick, back on fantasy football, don't ever draft a defense in the final few rounds, because even the top defenses the next year aren't always the same. Players change, their schedule changes, and please, whatever. And that's a whole nother thing we could get into for an hour.
Minnesota.
Harrison Smith is a turnover machine.
Yes, he is.
I want to move into a new subject we haven't talked about, and a lot of people have reached out, and there was somebody that wrote a blog post about it saying, and let's get organized. How do you organize your collection? So at 1 million Cubs, as I got muted there, my wife even said, "Don't sing." At 1 million Cubs posted, the guy that's trying to get 1 million Cubs in his collection, he posted a blog post about how he's organizing his Cubs collection. And, he's going through and he has all the players' names on on the
The little
dividers,
white dividers.
on these little white dividers here that you can buy. And I thought it was
10
really
for
interesting. And a lot of people have asked me to. I've posted my bookcases from IKEA, which I got Billy bookcases. They're great. They last. They're about $90. But they fit 10 2-inch binders on each shelf. So you can have
They're on sale this season, half price.
Oh, nice. You can fill a full decade of cards, of top sets on there, which I've done, and give you a little look here. So that's kind of what they look like. My room's a mess right now, but just to kind of give you an idea, I have my player binders up top, and I kind of go through and I made the spine labels and that kind of stuff. And if you want to get some more information, you can always hit me up at Big Chef 79. I'll send you all the stuff. But I bought the binders off Amazon and the sheets, the pages from a local vendor here that by the case. And then also too, like I also have used these, and I bought it that I've been organizing by teams, and so I started making them and printing them out with the little labels. And I have these for players, vets. I have it for rookie cards. I have it for Hall of Famers and former retired stars. And so when someone comes through and says, "Hey, do you have what Robin Yountz do you have?" I'm looking, I can pull them all out at one time, and it took a while to get there. And as I add cards, it's a continuous process. I just kind of want to figure out how you guys organize your sets and your collections, because we all kind of collect differently.
It's one of those that I'm actually currently working on myself. I'm currently moving all of my cards from 5,000 count boxes with the dividers into binders with pages. It's not a matter of preservation or any of that. It was just I noticed that the more that I put more cards into the 5,000 count boxes and 4,000 count or the 3-row shoebox size, the less I actually looked at them. They sat in a box, in a corner, underneath the bed, wherever, not being looked at, not being appreciated. So I started moving all of them into binders and pages. And yeah, I have them by decade. So 50s tops, 60s tops, 70s tops, because you're going to need more binders. You're going to need more pages just to fit that many years. But I've noticed that the amount that I go to grab a binder and flip through and look at the years and read the backs and read the little comic icons or see what kind of insert sets were inputted into them, I look at them more. And for me, that was the entire reason that I started collecting, was to be able to flip back kind of like a history book and say, okay, well, what happened during 1963? Well, you got the Civil Rights Movement. You've got Kennedy's assassination. Sorry, Dallas. But you also have, okay, Harmon Killebrew batted this in 1962, and he was currently leading the league in this. Or the Twins were set to call up rookie Tony Oliva. The next year, he led the league in average, or all of this. And that's why I started moving him into binders. For me, it made more sense. And for me, it makes me appreciate my collection more than just in a 5,000 count box. So I do the same. I've got some that are put out by pages because you can only put so many parallels and inserts and all of this. And eventually I'll get to putting them in binders and pages. But that's what I'm working on moving towards, just because it makes more sense for me.
Real quick, Ryan Cracknell noted here, recipe cards are cheaper and they work beautiful. And he writes the set names and has them tabbed in monster boxes. So,
makes sense. I'll have to check those out.
I also have done so with my complete sets. I don't have bindered up yet. I have all the labels and the complete, or then if I write complete and nice. if I'm missing, like on this 81 football set, I'm missing Monk and Montana, the two most popular cards, but I got the set for like a really, really good deal and it's beautiful. But I'll leave my little note on there that I need those cards from that set and replace them. Sure. And I'm super neurotic, and so like I have like old baseball, new baseball sets. The old baseball's anything or when I collected as a kid, and then new baseball's anything new, and the same in Hall of Fame players. So I have all these, and so when I look, I kind of know what box to grab. And I'm like a little OCD with it, but it's easy to go find what I'm looking for, and I remember what I have and what I don't have. And I also use my website. It's a WordPress site, and they're free, and that's what I do. And I also keep some notes on my phone of sets I'm looking for at all times. So Ben, how do you
Yep.
do with all of your Oakland A's?
Well, I've got all of my complete sets from childhood and all that stuff out in the garage on a big metal shelf, which is off the ground by a couple of inches in case my water heater ever decides to take a shit. I want to make sure that my cardboard is protected. My whole A's collection is in my closet. They're all in binders. I sit them on their side. I don't stand them up, and the reason being is over time those pages, especially the more modern pages with the heavy relics, will start to bow, and then you start to get them almost like a C shape. And I noticed that right away when I'd stand them up, and I didn't want my cards to get damaged, so I start setting them on their side. It's not as effective as far as spacing goes because it doesn't, it takes up a lot more room that way. But I want to make sure that they're always flat on their back. And then, you put your binders, zigzagging. As far as how all of my Ace cards are going in sleeves, even the big relics and stuff. There are sleeves big enough to fit those. There's very few cards that I don't put in sleeves. I do have some cards up on my shelf that are my graded Mickey Mantles and things like that. Some of my favorite A's Cespedes cards. As far as my organization, I'm a big Excel guy. And I know that you guys, I think, have seen my Excel database. I've got multiple pages. I've got everything broken down on one tab by non-flagship sets. All the, basically anything that had 3 or more A's cards in a set is included on that, dating back to 1909. I have a separate tab for my flagship dating from 1952 through current. And then I have a want list for everything before the current year, dating back to 1923, I think is the oldest A's card. So it has everything on there, all the inserts, anything I'm missing that I'd like to eventually pick up. And then I have one just for this current year. I've got player collections. Everything is broken down by player. I label it, 2018 Topps Fire, Matt Olson. Yeah, I mean, it's under a Matt Olson. I have them all labeled alphabetically. So let's say 2018 Topps Fire, card number 1. I'll write the serial number down, whether it's an auto, relic, what color parallel it is, and if it's from a subset or something. Just basically, if I'm at a show, to help remember what it says. Like Topps Triple Threads, for instance, has multiple relics that say different things. So to write Sunny Gray and a relic is very difficult to know whether or not you have that particular one. So I like to mention in my notes. And then I have all of the sets broken down on a different spreadsheet just to kind of look at them differently. So I can say, I'm going to go on eBay today and buy as many Donruss team sets as I can. That way I'm not going year by year. I can just go to a Donruss a header. So,
yeah. Sure.
And then I also have vintage, and I have all my complete sets on a separate tab. So I've got like 10 or 12 tabs, all marking different things that I want to collect. I have collected. So, and despite being what I would like to think extremely organized, luckily my wife is down the hallway. I just bought a Matt Olson Blue Wave 1983 parallel. I go to put it in tonight, and guess what? Womp womp, I already have it. So once in a while, even though I'm organized, sometimes my eyes get the best of me on eBay, and I get excited and I buy something and I get it here, and I've got 4 or 5 Matt Olsons that I already own.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, you always find somebody else that's a sucker for the A's.
No, and that's the thing is what's cool is I traded an extra 1978 Topps Nolan Ryan for some McGuire's. Things happen. It's you'll always find a home for it.
Once a Cub here noted that 75% of his Cubs collection scanned. He's got 2 5x7 digital photo frames that cycle through in his office so he can see his cards more often. One for the vertical cards and one for the horizontal cards. Like, that's awesome.
Somebody should make an app like that. Somebody should make a digital card app.
So what I'm assuming how it works, you've got the photo frame itself with the little small processor, but essentially it works as setting them as screensavers and then rotating every 5, 10, whatever interval he wants. Brilliant idea. I'm probably going to go pick up 2 Raspberry Pis and set that up myself. Then build custom frames for it because I love that idea. And it'll give me a weekend project for electronics and woodworking. It shouldn't be too hard for me to figure out.
No, man.
But
it's a great idea.
For everyone else, it's absolutely a great idea. You can go to Walmart or wherever and probably pick up those same digital frames, photo frames, and do exactly what he did. Set it to rotate, time it to Dropbox or wherever if you want to upload it on a little mini SD card. It's a brilliant idea, and I'm going to have to go do it.
Yeah, I think a lot of us might. I mean, because I'm looking at one right now that has my kids on it. I'm thinking,
delete the kids, put my McGuire's in.
Right? Come on, and then wonder how long it'll take before the wife goes, wait a minute.
Well, no, what you do is you slowly change it over so that you put like one photo in between the 10 kids photos and then 2 cards. And then I gotta be
honest. I do have memes on there from The Office and The West Wing, my 2 favorite shows. That scroll through there, and I told her I should delete those one day. She goes, "It's yours," and I'm thinking, I mean, our buddy just gave. Yeah, thanks, Bo. Appreciate it. Wife's not going to appreciate it, but she'll learn to love it. She'll learn.
Yeah.
And if she doesn't, hey, she could sleep on the couch.
And going to Excel, I'm a big Excel nerd. So with my Brett collection, I have that, and it tells me how many total cards Brett has, and then how many I have that are unique out of that, and then how many I have total. And it's sad because he's got so many. Like I was going through it and updating it the other day, and he has so many more cards after he played than when he played. And so I've made a decision that I'm only going to get every card of when he played, and then kind of go from there. Now, if I run into him along the way, I'll grab them and put them away, and maybe one day I'll organize them those better. But the playing day cards, when I'm after in my Royals and my Giants, my San Francisco Giants, tops, getting every tops card from their sets, from the base sets from Flagship is what I'm working on too. That's fun. And it's just kind of it's one of those things. So I like to have them in binders. All of my relics or autos are either in they're in top loaders or they're in magnetics, depending on the card or how I value it. And I like the pages, so I can flip through, like going and grabbing, like, hey, 82 tops. Like, what did that look like going through and reading the cards and loving it, and kind of like experiencing what it was like in 1982 when the set came out and it was fresh.
Sure.
The main, I mean, we're just 3 guys. Bo gave us an idea. Ryan gave us an idea. If we, or once a cup, excuse me, I thought it was 1 million cups. I apologize. If we ask 100 people, we're going to get 100 different ideas. And what's beautiful about it is there's no right or wrong, because the thing is we all collect differently, whether it's, I collect what I like, or I collect specifically teams or players or sets or a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Some people put them in binders, some people don't. There's no right or wrong. What's fun about it is we can steal each other's ideas, because that's what makes it fun is, hey, I like your idea.
Right.
And you cater it to yourself. Is putting everything in an Excel spreadsheet for everyone? No, some people use Google Docs. I know Steph does. It doesn't make it right or wrong. I've shared my Excel idea with a couple of people and said, hey, this works for me. And trust me, I've redone that 20 times probably. I've had it all kinds of different ways. I get it one way and I look at it and go, man, I really wish I would have done it this way. And then it's, how do you reorganize 20,000 cards like that? You don't. It takes weeks and weeks to redo it. And, I always tell my wife, I said, when I get into my Excel spreadsheet, when I'm there, odds of me hearing you are probably remote, because I'm so laser focused. And I'm intimately familiar with a lot of the cards in my collection, because even though I don't flip through and look at them all, which is part of the fun, I know what I have, except when I make the mistakes. And, but that's what's fun, is there's no right or wrong. And who knows, 5 years from now, if we have the same conversation, all 3 of us might have a vastly different idea of how we store cards and collect.
Yeah, it's just about topic a lot of people have asked about it. And when 1 million brought it up, it was kind of a thing like, hey, like, let's talk about this, because we all kind of do it a different way. And we tend to, everybody has a really good ideas, and I feel everybody should share them and get it out there, because somebody might have an idea that you've never thought of, and you're like, man, that's something I should try. And the photo frame is a good one. It's always good to learn and see what other people are doing. And if you're you're not cheating, you're not trying, right? So,
Well, yeah,
Exactly.
and when you say cheating and stealing in this hobby,
it's borrowing. It's whatever. We
you're
know.
borrowing ideas. You're stealing somebody's idea. When you're
Misappropriating.
yes, you're just reallocating your ideas from your collection to mine.
Yep.
There's no right or wrong, and it's always fun to see how other people collect. That's why it's such a great topic, and sharing our ideas of what works for us. This is what I found works for me, and I shared my Excel spreadsheet with a friend of mine. And he looks at it and goes, "Nope, not for me," because I don't love Excel as much as you appear to. And it's
Excel's
like,
awesome.
so you'll have to
Right.
find, that's what I told myself. So you'll have to find something that works for you because, my collection got to the point where, I couldn't remember it anymore. When you start talking all these parallels in the modern day collection, you just can't remember everything.
Right.
We all know if we have a 1985 Topps complete baseball set, that's easy enough to remember. But if there are 23 Bowman and Bowman, chrome and paper parallels, come on.
Yeah.
For the love of God, Fleer inserts in the 80s and 90s.
They were just
All of
bad.
them. And stickers.
Fleer was ridiculous in the mid to late 90s.
Yep.
And they had 4 parallels, and then they had like 15 different sets.
Or variations where they're slightly different, or the stickers have 4 different teams versus the other 4.
Yeah. Well, that's a path of that gives me nightmares, guys.
No, I was talking to somebody not that long ago. They're like, they make too many parallels. I'm like, here's what you need to do. Take one player that played in the 90s. We'll just use Mark McGwire as an example.
Of course.
And go find, just because I've recently done
No
this.
bias.
Go look at every player of your favorite 1990s guy. Just look up Fleer.
Yeah.
Go document them all by hand, and then come back to a 2018 checklist and go, oh, there's too much. This is not a new thing by any stretch.
Yeah.
No.
And one last thing before we leave today. I went on a little rant earlier and on Twitter about Royals hats and Kansas City A's hats. You guys know your teams. Know the history of your teams. The Royals have never worn green. And the KCs they're the same letters and they're white, but they are definitely different logos, my friend. So if you're going to be forever Royal, know your Royals. And you can say, hey, I love all the KC teams. Then that's what it is. It's a Kansas City professional baseball team collection, hat collection, not a Kansas City Royals hat collection where you got a Royals hat in there. I have a Monarchs hat I love, but I know it's a Monarchs hat, and because I think the guys run the Negro League Hall of Fame in Kansas City are amazing, and I want to support that team, and it's a good looking hat. But I don't put it in I don't say, hey, look at this Royals hat I have.
If you're going to be dumb enough, to let Tim see a picture like that, Tim, don't share it with me because my salty ass is not going to be able.
I didn't tell you who it was, and you go hunt the person down. That's what
I did.
That was my bad. I told you I wasn't going to tell you who it was because I knew what you were going to do.
Tim shows me a picture of this Kansas City A's hat that sticks out like a sore thumb, and I said, whoever owns this beautiful collection of hats, there's probably about
so real quick,
100 hats.
Yeah, Steph's showing them wearing St. Patty's Day uniforms. Okay, this is right there. When's St. Patty's Day? When does that take place? In March.
Is it a Kansas City Royal player
but
they
never wore it in a major league game. Now they wore it in some crappy, stupid spring training game to sell another hat.
No, and this was obviously a Kansas City A's hat. And the first thing I asked him when I saw the picture was, is that person saying that they're a Royals fan or a Kansas City fan? Because I'm all for city pride. Sure. If you're a Kansas City fan through and through, you're born and raised, your blood is there in Missouri,
State.
All for it. Cool. Just say, hey, I'm a Kansas City fan, and the logos are KC, and I'll take them on whatever. I'm good with that.
Your name's KC.
But then this person,
right.
When I did hunt them down because Tim refused to tell me who it was. I found it, and I made a comment. If you're a Kansas City fan, good. If you're a Royals fan, and it happens to be a young lady, and she hashtagged it, raised Royals. So I was a raised Royals fan, right? Is how I'm interpreting that as a reader, and I'm thinking, that's a Kansas City A's fan. Be a Kansas City fan. That's not a Royals hat. Take it out of your collection. Set it aside and go, hey, this is my Kansas City and minor league collection. And then you get all
the Kansas City A's were pretty much a minor league team. Let's be honest. Like the Oakland A's.
They were.
you guys been minor league.
Legally speaking,
Well, until Hunter came along in '65, when they left Philadelphia in the early '50s, who did they have? Name their big player from the mid to late '50s all the way up till Hunter in '65.
Anyway, this went longer than I wanted. I just wanted to say, know your teams, guys. Come on.
Say what like it is. I will say this.
Be better.
Hat collectors, I thought I was spicy and salty. Man, hat collectors are a very passionate bunch.
Hashtag be better, guys.
And they come out of the woodworks. And they try to light me up, and I was laughing. It's like, come on. This all started because somebody didn't know what they had in their collection, or they did and they refused to call it like it was.
Well, guys, we're going to be ending the show. And, I just, anybody have any final thoughts tonight?
Ben is salty. Collect what you want.
Yeah.
Sell what you want.
Try not to fight the internet.
And I'm not ruthless.
I took on the whole Twitter hat kingdom yesterday.
Yeah, but that's not the only battle you were fighting anyway.
No, and I got my wife's like, "Are you coming to bed like 6 times?" I'm like, "Hush up."
No, I gotta fight someone. Someone is wrong on the internet.
I'm swiping on my phone like, she goes, "That little finger is gonna break." She goes, "That finger is gonna get arthritis." And I'm like, "Listen, they called me a troll. Now this is gonna start up 3 more hours."
Yeah. Anyway, so as we end the show tonight, remember we're always live every Wednesday, well, except for tonight, at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe and review on YouTube and iTunes. Let us know how we're doing. Central. And once we hit 100 subscribers on YouTube, we'll give away that week's Topps Living Set to one of the first 100 subscribers. We might even have a special guest next week. Our first guest. We're working where our people are talking to their people, and we're going back and forth, and maybe we can make something happen, which makes me feel really good that we have, we might have our first guest. I'm kind of excited about it, and there'll be more to come with that. You can always follow us on Twitter at About the Cards. That's probably we'll break the news. You can always follow Ben at Our Trading Cards and troll him there. Follow Steph at Junkwax Twins, and you can always follow me at Big Shep 79. And a shout out to Ryan Cracknell. I hit 800, and I was really excited. And then I said something about it, and the next thing I know, I've got 45 new followers like that, which was pretty cool. And I've added, and I don't try to get followers. I don't try to do giveaways to get followers on Twitter. And it's kind of cool. Like this month, I've added like 140 some odd followers. And hey, that's awesome. And then I look, and Steph's got 2,100 followers. Like, I feel kind of puny, but you know what? Hey, it is what it is, and that's why we have Steph on the show, is popularity. And as you can see, he's got sponsors. I don't have sponsors.
Yeah, but it's not about how many you have. It's about having the right ones, and this card collecting community coming together as a whole, and
Yep.
growing the hobby, and it's so much fun on Twitter to be able to share cards, and it's just so much fun, and it's fun to ask people like Ryan and Brent and other members of the Mount Rushmore of collectors, and pick their brains and go, hey, I know that you probably know this, and if you don't, you can point me in the right direction. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and
it just makes the hobby. That's what it is.
Well, and then so many people make friends or connections, or be able to find a card or complete a set. They weren't able to. I know someone, Steph shared this earlier before he came on. Someone was looking to find like, hey, what are these cards? I don't know what these are. Where do these come from? And Steph had a couple guesses and went and tracked them down within 5-10 minutes. He had them figured out. They were 4 minutes. 4 minutes.
66 cons wieners.
Cons wieners. It just sounds weird, fun to say. But there's
a lot of times I go to Twitter feeling like Princess Leia talking to R2D2, or Obi-Wan Kenobi. Come on, please help me. You're my only hope. And it's amazing how many people know things,
or have that card, share. Or that that checklist, or that link to that story. I know, and I'm putting this out there. Hold on. Steph's got it up here. He's showing the cards here, the con wieners. I was going to go around saying that all night.
You'll love their slogan.
What's their slogan?
It was... Someone replied with it. The wiener the world awaited.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, a lot of those 60s sets were so fun. And then the 70s had the King Bee discs and all that stuff. You had all the old Hostess and Post.
Yeah.
You
Somebody brought up, and I don't have it in front of me, and I feel bad, but they were looking. Somebody posted a story or blog post about creating your own storage boxes for your sets or your cards and organizing them. So if anybody has that, if they could share that with at our about the cards or with me at Big Shep 79, I'll make sure that it gets to the right person. But they lost the story. They forgot to bookmark it. But it was about building your own boxes to store your cards and so being able to create custom sized boxes. I guess I would like to look into and just see. I'm interested. I like to hear and see how different things people are doing. So it gets back to let's get organized. You don't have to mute me now, but guys, as we end tonight, thank
you muted.
I don't have to. I don't have to. But
that was a way delayed mute, by the way. As I was just getting ready to give our listening audience, our viewing audience, a hug, a nice warm embrace. You have to mute me.
Yep,
last week we accidentally kicked Ben afterwards. The after show got exciting. I learned how to eject people.
And I totally
got ejected, and we didn't hear for him. It was like he went. Then he died as soon as I ejected him because he wouldn't get back to us. So I felt bad about it.
They kicked me out, and I was like looking at the clock, going, "Oh, it's bedtime. I'll talk to those boys tomorrow." They did me a favor.
But I want to say we appreciate it. As we hopped on, we were at 77 subscribers. Let's get to 100. We just want to have that vanity YouTube link. So we can share that around and just feel popular and famous, But again, everybody, thank you for listening. Last week's episode had more views than the 2 weeks previous, which is great. A lot of people talking about the show, and we appreciate it. And thank you so much. Again, we do this just for fun, just for us, and to share some topics. And a lot of people have reached out saying, "Hey, this is one of the better shows, and this is the show. This is my go-to show. God, thanks for doing this." And it's so humbling. It really, really is. I'm not trying to brag about it all. Like, it means a lot. It really does. Like, right. I don't know. So thank you very much.
Well, especially how the show came about, where we're just like, let's create a podcast to talk with one another every Wednesday night.
I have a mic. You have a mic. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's just do this, and that way we can have an excuse, really just to kind of geek out and talk cards. And we appreciate everybody that's chosen to listen, whether it's just one time or every time. We really appreciate the camaraderie and the feedback and the support.
Yep. And like you said, if you guys, this is your show as much as it is ours. And if you want to share something with us or have a story or a topic you want to have covered, or you even want to hop in and be a guest sometime, and you have something that we could, that would interest the hobby, let us know. Get at us. We'll put you on. Oh, any problems?
Absolutely.
I want to get collectors on here. This is a collector's show. That we're not trying to be elitist or anything, and that's all we are. So, as collectors, so let us know. Get at us, and we'd love to hear from you. And everybody, just always keep collecting, keep loving, and keep supporting the hobby. And we'll talk to you next week, Wednesday. Again, Wednesday at our normal time at 8 p.m. We'll be on there 10 Central. So 11 East Coast. It's late night after dark over there. All right, guys.
See, that's where you catch us on iTunes and Stitcher and
in the morning on the way in. All right, fellas. All right, everybody. We love you. We'll talk to you next week. Have a good night.
Yep. Have a great weekend, guys.
Good night, everyone.